Hey guys, welcome back to the Adam Ferns Archive channel, and now we're on video number 3 of the Scooby-Doo rankings. We're now on the Culprits. So like always, I'll try my level best to get a good description for each one, and we'll get through these. So we've got 15 Culprits, because one has kind of 2, but we'll get to that in a bit. So let's not waste any time and get through this And the way I do Culprits compared to Adam, he normally goes for the number 1 for him is like worst to the most evilest, basically. But I tend to go for least sympathetic to number 1 is the most sympathetic. So let's get through this. So at my number 15 spot on Culprits we have Sherry. Now Sherry is the future house. Now the reason why she's so low is, well, she just wants attention basically. And it's hard to, you can't really blame humanity, because humanity didn't know her AI was that advanced that she was self-thinking. So it's really hard to, sympathize with this, because like humanity didn't know you were that advanced, that you wanted attention of some kind. So that's why I put her at the bottom spot of my list. But still, it is a nice reveal, the twist. Number 14, we have Professor Pomfret, who is the mastermind behind the furry-foot Shaggy. And I know Adam went into a big detail about this plot arc, about how, like, this scientist apparently is jealous of this other scientist, but yet he still has the audacity to build not only one robot that took him probably a few months, but he's able to easily redo that robot. Probably he may have to rebuild from scratch, but he's able to do that easy in like a few hours or something with Shaggy. And that whole thing with the whole ghost entity played by the awesome Mako, may rest in peace. I think it's either Professor Pomfret's technology or it's just a supernatural element that sort of played with Professor Pomfret's plan. I want to say that's a supernatural element because in What's the Scooby-Doo universe, we have seen type of things like that, so it's not too far-fetched. But yeah, the point is, though, that plot hole there is still a bit iffy. And the reason why he's so low is not just because of the whole, he took jealousy way too far, but the thing is, he definitely caused people's lives by taking advantage of Velma's Robo-Dog, and easily, obviously, he probably knew he was killing people in the process just to destroy his friend's company or whatever that guy was to him as the business person. So this is very extreme, and he didn't seem to really care. So that's why I put him like, he knew, because you got this giant robot. Obviously, people are going to get caught in the crossfire, and he didn't seem to care at all. So he basically is responsible for like hundreds of deaths, if anything. Let's see, at my number 13 spot is Prince Quazi al-Lamir, that's how I pronounce his name, Prince Quazi al-Lamir, and then there's also his wife, Madame Chantel, but I really count her because she's not really in the front, we don't really see her as much as the prince, and the reason why he's this low is basically he wants all the water, I believe in Egypt, I may be wrong with that, the location, but he wants all the water in Egypt into his own personal city just for profit, so all the people can starve and die. That is pretty dark for a kid's cartoon, but yeah, so it's pretty understandable why he'd be this low. Number 12 spot, we have Colonel, I know he has a last name, Colonel Thornwall, is it something? But he's basically the guy responsible for the Wakami bird, I believe it's called. Because he's basically studying this meteor crash down around in Mexico in secret, and he should be turning that into the authorities, but no, he doesn't do that. And anyone who trespasses there, he just kidnaps them and keeps them there until they're done, which is very dark and very shady. Kind of like the Alien Invaders thing, where you had those fake MPs. So yeah, so that's very dark. So that's why he's not very sympathetic, and he's very low for me. Number 11, we have Meadow. This is where we start to get into sympathetic, but not fully. But yeah. So Meadow is basically one of the contestants at the dog show, trying to get her Milady Boombeam to win, but she sees the Secret Six and Scooby as potential threats to the competition, so she kidnaps them with her goons, and has the cat creature scare them off as well. So it's a bit extreme. Again, just for her own selfish glory, but yeah, a lot of villains do tend to run for the whole thing of greed. So, and I feel like the reason why I put her at this one, because I know the Colonel kidnapped. I feel like kidnapping people is I'm more ticked off with people being kidnapped than animals. Well, in this case, it's only dogs. So, besides, I feel like only because people have a more importance into humanity than animals. That's just my personal opinion, because humans have thumbs and they're more intelligent beings, and that's just how life is granted it. But that's just me. So that's why I put the Colonel a bit lower in the Meadow there. Moving on though to number 10 spot is the town of Simple Plan. Well, everyone in the town where Simple Plan had to hang out when their bus crashed. Because everyone's literally behind this, and that's a nice change. You don't really suspect that, because each one had like a certain piece to do of the puzzle. Jack is the mayor of the town, the head of the town, and he basically has resources. Gibby's obviously the brains behind the operation. Eve has the fabric. Well, how to put this? When I say Jack has the resources, he has the facility. Eve has the actual materials. Gibby has the brains, and Zeke is basically there to wear the suit and lure Simple Plan around. But he out of the bunch of them, he's the weakest of what he's supposed to do. What you gonna do? I mean, you gotta. I'm trying to squeeze him in somehow. But yeah, basically though, their plan, it's a bit extreme just to get back, and their band does kind of suck. If they did kidnap them, they would be booed off stage. But I feel like it's a bit extreme for this one. But for a great episode, it's one meandering plot issue is the whole reason why. But yeah, I mean, it's not as cruel as other things I've seen in the show. Number 9, we have Trudy. This is the spy who basically wanted to steal the recipe for the Scooby snack formula, but then she figured out, hey, I've got this gunk on. I could take this gunk and foil the plan, get the recipe done out that way, and also cause destruction to shut the factory down. So she saw an opportunity to take it, kind of thing. That kind of makes her more crueler than the actual air freshener. The actual culprit that was Penelope, which we'll get to. Number 8 spot is the Fortescue brothers, which are Steve and Stu, and basically they just go vampire on the Hex Girls because they just want them out their house and they're not leaving. And now, I believe Adam said, why don't you just call the police? And probably because, is there a phone in that castle, or would there be a phone? I don't really know the details. To be fair, because yeah, I mean, there's a certain point in the episode where I forgot what he is, but he basically there's this character there who's either the owner of the castle or something, and he basically doesn't call the police at all. He just ties them up and puts them in a cell or a dungeon or something in the castle. So there really is no sort of communication or some sort of way to contact anyway. So, and I guess basically if that's the case, there is no phone, then it kind of makes sense to dress up as a vampire. But still, you could just wait a bit till they go. But I can understand that it is kind of illegal doing it. So it's kind of, you can see why we're starting to go into more sympathetic routes here. Let's see though. But the reason why I had Meadow lower than Meadow and the town lower than Trudy, because I feel like, why did I feel more sympathetic for her? I mean, maybe because Meadow annoyed me more than Trudy did, because Trudy was a side character. She didn't really annoy me as much as Meadow did. Same with the town. But that's because Gibby's there too. But maybe that's why the order's that way is. But yeah. So, like I said, Fortescue Brothers are the number 8 spot. Number 7 spot is Jameson S. Ripley, I believe it's called. But yes, or Lancelot, who's basically I'm sure Adam will agree with me, the Gilderoy Lockhart of the show. He's basically full of himself. I can't tell if he believes himself to be Lancelot or he's just that dedicated to his character that he wants him to be known for all the time. It's hard to say, really. But he's a very fun, even though he's the culprit, again, because he has the resources and the gas tanks to do that, like the flamethrower tanks. He's still a fun character because even there's a point where the dragon comes out and he tries to fight it off. Obviously, it's kind of like a syndrome thing to throw off the audience. But also, you would never, and it works too, because you would never suspect that, really. But again, it's very fun, because he's really getting into his character, and that's all he's got left, really. That's why he's so devoted for King of the Treasure, when we find out, please, I'm Lancelot, I deserve it, because he's so into the role, that's why he believes he deserves the treasure, because he's sick and tired of doing these county fairs. He believes he deserves the treasure because of how well he does the role of Lancelot, or the fact that he believes he's Lancelot. It's still a fun villain, and how he makes it up so foppish and takes it up so well. You can really, I mean, he's a villain you like to enjoy, so I can't really hate him at all. Next up, number 6 is Marcy. This is where we're starting to get into more sympathetic, where we have she basically, her birthday is around Halloween, and that's everyone, the whole family, the whole town puts that tradition more above Marcy's birthday. I mean, at the very least, the parents should put some effort into that, but no, they don't. And what, she 18 now? So that's just sad that, assuming this has been happening over and over again, it's understandable for 18 years, or however long it's been, that she would finally go to this extreme to turn Halloween on its heads. So, to a certain extent, I can sympathize with her, and she is quite manipulative how to cover herself, like the whole camera stuff. So, she's one of the more interesting culprits, I would say. Number 5, we have Susie Smith, or Susie Smythe. And she basically is a treasure hunter for the glory. Why did I put her this high exactly? Oh, that's because Marcy annoyed me more, and Susie Smythe was barely in it much. That's probably why. So, yeah, Susie Smythe, again, fun character. Well, not really a fun character, but she was in it so minor that she didn't really bother me like as much as Marcy did. So, to a certain extent, even though she wanted the glory for herself and wasn't willing to share, I could tolerate her more than Marcy because she didn't annoy me as much. But yeah, so to a certain degree. Number 4, we have Monroe, I believe it's called, the assistant to that guy. Now, originally I assumed his goal was to unfreeze his boss from the ice, when actually it was just to keep him, I believe Adam says it's to keep him on ice to preserve his mind for the future. And the Scooby Gang basically unfollowed him, which he didn't want, so plan fail. It just seems a bit, I mean, I get it for the good of the future and science, but, I mean, there's a thing we call videos and recordings. There's a saying that people aren't remembered for what they are, but the things they do, kind of thing, that type of sentence. Like, someone does something famous and they remembered for it, kind of thing. So, if you want your knowledge to be remembered when you go on, just record stuff. It's there, books, archives, videos, stuff like that. So there are ways of making immortality, making you last on without being immortal. I mean, we can't be immortal, but we have ways to create illusions that our legacies carry on. So there are ways to go around this aside from freezing yourself, because that's kind of a comic book thing, really. But well, I don't know. I really don't know if you freeze someone in ice, does that really preserve them like Captain America? If that really is a thing in reality, let me know in the comments. Moving on, though, to number 3 is obviously Penelope. Now, this is obviously a sympathetic one because protecting her family business from spies and thieves. So, understandable why. It's a nice turn on. The only thing dark she did was in that opening scene, that one guy possibly died. So apart from that grim opening, everything was justified on her actions. It was nice to see a culprit doing something for the good side for once, because not many people did that. Like, I'm just terrorizing just to prevent thieves stealing our recipe all the time. But at the same time, while you're doing that, you're also putting your factory out of business, that monster around. So it's a hit and miss. And if that's another thing. If the spies know there's a monster around after the first one fails, why keep doing it? Are they that desperate for the recipe? Anyway, number 2 is Gibby Norton. It is really sad that Gibby Norton is this high, but his motivation is love, really. And yes, he's rejected for it, but okay, it's love gone too far, but at the same time, he just did it all to at least try. And I can relate to that, because everyone's been there at some point in their life. I mean, even if you get turned down, it's like, hey, at least you tried, but Gibby never stops, which is an annoying thing, but whatever. But still, I do appreciate that that whole sympathetic approach to it. And of course, he does want to win as well, but he probably wants to win as well, just again to boost up impressing Wilma. But there you go. And of course, to no surprise, that number 1 spot is Rudy Baines, the judge of the the judge of the grind games, or one of the judges anyway, and it's the only way she took up that role because it's the only way she believed she could get in, because she assumed that I wasn't going to be taken in because I'm a girl or something. But what's weird thing is that she attacks 2 of the competitors from the book magazine we saw. 2 of them are girls, and she has taken some of these people out. So, and we actually see that. So she really should raise an eyebrow about that. But anyway, though, I do sympathize with her, because she tries to skateboard and she can't. And no, seriously, I'm good. Just let me try it. But no, she's just taken away and never get that chance, because you can do something with practice. So I didn't feel the need. I felt I was on her side and I felt sorry. Just give her a chance, please. I mean, there are literally skateboarders and skateboardesses there that could teach her. I know she's still going to pay for her sins, but there's no reason to be. I felt the Scooby Gang were a bit too harsh at the end. I feel like the right message for the kids would be like, hey, you did something bad, but when you're out, Ryan or someone should teach her. And because it's called development for characters. We're all human beings. Yeah, there are bad people in the world, but for that one there, yeah, you can understand why I was sympathizing with the culprit there on that one. I felt sympathetic for it. So, I mean, she should have questioned herself a bit, but at the same time, I still feel sorry for that. Anyway, though, that is the list of the culprits. Up next is the chase sequences, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video, and the final video probably for today's session. We'll see. Till next time, like always, I'll see you on the next one for the Adam Ferns Archives.